Hey, welcome to the last update of Archmage Rises this year. This is a very exciting update. Archmage Rises is the most awesome role-playing game ever made.
Falls down the thing.
Do you agree, Nick?
Oh yeah, it gets better every day.
That's right. Keep polishing the turd.
That's right.
So we are here to give you an update on Build 11 because we're supposed to be feature complete on that today. So how is that going, Nick?
Well, it's been really productive. Got a ton done, but I still got a couple things on my list. So it's gone great. Got serialization working this week. New game options, including the audio sliders, which a couple of you really wanted. So made sure to get that in.
Yep.
Grinder, drag and drop. The company panel fixes. Fixed some bugs in Tower. So we're just kind of running through it, cleaning it up, getting everything finished up, crossing our T's and dotting our I's.
So, do you think we'll be hitting our target of January 5th?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like we're on schedule to do that. We'll know once we get testing. Like, if it's obviously possible something bad will happen, but it's looking good right now.
Well, I have an entirely different perspective on that. So I also had a list of things that I had to do for today. And I think there were 4 things on my list. I had 8 days of work assigned over the last 2 weeks. And I have only done one of them. In fact, I haven't even finished that one. So I still have 3 or 4 more tasks that I need to get done. So I have been working on the real world quests, like the world generates the quests. And man, my video is going like all crazy. Got super crazy white guy face, even whiter than normal. Oh, now it's darkening. I gotta get a new webcam. Anyway, so yeah, the very first thing I was working on was making sure that the quests work correctly for missing people, so that you can get the people and return them back to their family members. And there's just been a ton of work in there. It just goes on and on and on. Oh, my face is brightening again. It's like bleach. So it did require me putting in some pretty cool features. Like, I've been working for the last 2 weeks on this one thing. And one of the things I just got working yesterday that was really cool was grieving. So whenever someone dies, the family members will grieve the loss of that person. And there's one final step of a thing to put in, and that is actual funerals that take place over at the cemetery. So if the player wanted to go to the funeral of someone that they knew in the town, that they can. Otherwise, it's just something that happens, and the player can ignore. So the situation is, if the NPC goes out fishing where there's goblins kill him. The body drops and the goblins loot it, but they leave the body there. And then the player goes there and they find the body, and then they take the body back to the family member, in this illustration, and to the wife. And then they say, hey, I found your missing husband. Here's his body. And then they thank you for that. And you have the choice of accepting the quest reward or not, which is something that one of our fans recommended. Hey, I'd like the ability to decline a quest reward, and I think that's a good idea. That's a very tabletop-y role-playing thing to do.
Yeah, totally.
And so I got that in while I was working on it. And once the family member sees the body of the person, then they go into a grieving process. And so the reason I had to put that in was because it created a really weird situation where you could go to someone's house, say, hey, husband, you want to go hunting with me? Take him out hunting, kill him, bring the body back to her, and there's some rolls that are happening in the background, like her perception check against your stealth check. It's actually lying, but I don't have the soul stuff in and your ability to lie yet, so I just did it against stealth. So you're trying to pass off this body as being like, hey, killed by goblins, even though you did it. And then, so once you turn it in, she says, oh, thank you for turning in my husband. We were wondering what happened to him. Or she's like, hey, he was last with you, and she's all suspicious of you, and you take a big hit to your relationship. Or her perception check passes, your stealth check, and she figures out you were actually the one that kills them, and then she's really mad at you, and your wanted level in the town starts to go up. She puts out a bounty on your head. So we're not going to have the bounty stuff working for build 11 that they can actually happen. But anyways, I just put it in so that she can actually increase it. And so right after all that goes down, then the player could go, hey, you want to get married? and, and that was completely ridiculous. And right now I had a 50-50 thing in there. So 50% of the time she would say yes, right? Like a second after losing her husband. Now maybe that's realistic in some marriages in this world, but I don't think it's representative of most of them. So I know my wife would want at least a day of mourning. She'd be crying about all the work I put into him. I can't believe he's dead. I have to start over on someone else. So anyways, that was unrealistic. And so what I did was I put in grieving, and now they grieve. And it's true for the whole family. So it's not, it would be the kids or whatever. So it creates interesting real world scenarios where like someone wants to get married, but their father passes away. And they immediately go into 2 months of grieving, and they won't get married during that time period. So I think that's kind of cool and kind of realistic.
Yeah, and that's why it's taken so long, is that, you know, with these quests, they're generated by the simulator, and so there's lots of things you can do that you wouldn't expect that can cause weird things, and so you just have to hunt those down and figure out, you know, how do you make a solution to it that's as, you know, not hard-coded to the point where you can mess with it in a lot of different ways, allowing you to role play. So it's not surprising that these things take a while.
Yeah. So I'm behind. I need at least a few more days, but we will see if over Christmas Nick can make up all the work that I didn't do, and maybe we'll get on track, since you don't have to spend so much time on the file saving and loading. So we will see how things go, but I am now off for Christmas break with my kids and my family. And what that means is I'm going to sit at my computer and play video games.
Research, right?
Research, that's right. So I'll throw this out to anybody who cares. If there is a particular game that you think that I should play in my 1 week off, that would be good research for Archmage Rises, let me know. And maybe I can go and play that game. So, for instance, I have a couple that I've been meaning to get to. One of them is Dwarf Fortress. I've already played Dwarf Fortress, but I haven't played it in quite a while. So I thought it would be good to get a refresher on that. Also, the Rogue game. I guess they call it roguelike, but as soon as you say roguelike, then that means like something else now. So, anyways, I'm gonna play Adam, ADOM. Again, just to get familiar with all the mechanics in there. And I got some other things I was planning to play. So if anybody has any suggestions, I am all ears. So this is it for 2017, and we've got a ton done on this game, even though we didn't release it this year. Yep.
We've been expanding on a lot of things. I think a lot of the choices were the right choices, but it's hard to make a game like this, right? Nobody's done it, and you can see why it's very difficult. So we're feeling real pumped about the progress we've made, though, and also the implications of it. So I'm excited anyway.
Yeah. This time last year, we were still like, how are we going to do this? And how are we going to do that? And how are we going to do this other thing? And, we put together a plan on all these things, how the layers would work, how the monsters would fight, like all this stuff. As we sit here today on Friday, January 22nd, I think it is. Yep, 22nd. I look back and go, wow, we figured it all out. Like, the actual work I'm working on right now is how to get someone to grieve over the loss of their husband so they don't get married right away. Like, that's an entirely different scale of work or problem compared to where we were a year ago, where we were still framing the house, so to speak. Now, I mean, we still have some stuff to go. I don't want to, oversay it, but wow, a lot of it is now behind us, and we're just tuning the simulator and making it good.
Yep. Indeed.
So, you have anything else to tell the peoples?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. Kiss somebody you love. Give out a lot of hugs. And we'll see you next year.
Yep. Especially if you're sick, try to be patient zero.
That's right.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for staying tuned and interested in Archmage Rises, and we will see you in the new year. And when we do our first video update, we will give you a very clear answer on whether the thing's coming out January 5th or not, because the first update will come out. We'll be recording it on January 5th. Mm-hmm. So either the build is coming that day or it is not. And then probably in that episode, or maybe the episode thereafter, we'll kind of do a bit more of a lay of the land and what our roadmap is for 2018. But for now, thanks, and we'll see you all later.
Bye.